Hey guys, good morning. Okay. Am I audible, right? Okay. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Today, what we need to discuss, SQL Server part is completed. And okay. So, yesterday we are discussing how to connect with SQL Server, how many ways we can connect it, and we can load the SQL Server data into Power BI. That is what we discuss it. Okay. After that, enter data related. That means what is enter data in Power BI? If you want to create your own data set, must and should we have to use enter data. Okay. In that enter data table, you know how to create columns, rows, and everything, right? Okay. You enter data table at any point of time, you can modify the cell values also. Okay. You can modify the cell values. Okay. So you can modify the cell values or anything, you can do it. Okay. But only enter data table we can modify, but data source related table we cannot modify. Understand? That means whatever the data sets we are pulling from SQL Server or Oracle or Excel, all these are data source. Data source related one, you cannot modify the data sets data. Okay. Only enter data table at any point of time you can modify that one. Okay. You know how to modify, right? Yesterday I clearly explained to you how to modify the how to modify the enter data table values and everything. Yesterday we discussed it. And one more point it is there in enter data is, see, sometimes what will happen, okay, 5 to 6 records you can create those columns and rows, everything. But if it is suppose, for example, in a table like 15 columns and like 200 rows you want to enter, that means it is a time taking process, right? So that's the reason. Suppose somewhere your table is there, you need to copy and paste it in enter data. It is possible. Understand, Arpan? The same table, if you want to create of 200 rows and everything, mean it is a time taking process. To overcome this one, what you have to do is you have to somewhere, if your table is there, like with the 200 rows or 300 rows, somewhere the table is there. You need to copy from that particular data source table, and in enter data you can paste it. Okay, let's see how to do that one. Okay. Hmm. Suppose, for example, see here, this is the table. Suppose in Excel, this data will be there. So I want to copy this particular data. Okay. So here, I'm copying this particular data, like these many records or somewhere. Okay. Like suppose, for example, these many records I want to copy. So I'm copying. You know, right? So for copy, Control plus C shortcut here we use it. And when it comes to Power BI, click on Enter Data and see here. Click on Enter Data. In the inside the Enter Data, when you click on Enter Data, this will comes right. You have to select the first column. You have to select the first column, and you can paste it here. For paste, you have to use the shortcut called Control plus V. See here, all things data will be copied. So this is also it is possible. Suppose you can enter like in enter data table 10 rows, 20 rows, that is fine. But more than 20 rows, it is a time taking, right? So somewhere your data is there. You want to paste it in this particular enter data table. Like this, we can do. Understand or not? Not only this one. Suppose, for example, if you want to paste it in existing enter data table, okay, already enter data table I created. In that table, I want to paste it. How you can do that one? Must and should you need to go to transform data. And what is the enter data table? Here it is. That table you need to select it here. Understand? Oh, so here, enter table. This is the one. Okay. Suppose this is the enter data table. In this table itself, you can paste that particular data. Is that possible? Yes. But you have to come to the transform data and select that particular enter data table. On the right side, double click on the source. Then you can paste. Select the first column. Okay. Paste it like this. This is also possible. That means somewhere your data is there, you can copy there and paste it in new enter data table, or else you can paste it in existing enter data table. All the things it is possible here. Understand clearly or not? Is that clear or not? This is about, okay, enter data table. Anyone having any doubts in enter data table related one? Anyone having any doubts in enter data table? Okay. Very, very important. Sometimes in real time also we are using enter data table and everything. Okay. Understand clearly. Okay. Next one. What is the next option is? See here. Next option is data hours. What is data hours? If you know Power Apps is a different application. Okay. So that is also drag and drop application only, Power Apps. Okay. Once you have some experience in Power BI, try to learn Power Apps also. Okay. Power Apps is an application to create application without writing a single line of code. Okay. No coding part will be there. Always drag and drop. We can use it. Then automatically the application will be created. Understand clearly? Na? Okay. Next one is, see here, in this data verse, suppose for example, in Power Apps, you're storing your data in Power Apps. You can store the data or else you can create an application. Okay. You can store the data or create a new applications. Okay. You can store the data or we can create an applications. Okay. Okay. So whatever the data you are stored in Power Apps, that related, okay, that related tables, okay. Whatever data is stored in Power Apps, those tables, if you want to use it in Power BI means you have an option called Dataverse. This Dataverse is nothing but pulling a data sets from Power Apps to Power BI. Okay, that is the option it is. Okay, if you have some experience on this Dataverse, like Power Apps, then you know how to use this particular one. Understand clearly? Next one is recent sources. What is recent sources means? Recently, what data sources you are using? What is that? Recently, what data sources you are using? Okay, those data sources are available under recent sources. Understand? That means recently, what data sources we are using in Power BI itself. In Power BI, what data source we are using, those all the data sources it is available under recent sources. See here, in recent sources, this one, this is an SQL Server connection. And what is this one? Like this is an Excel, like that. That means in all the Power BI files, in all the Power BI files. Okay. In all the Power BI files, whatever data sources you are using recently, those data sources are available directly in recent source. Okay. Suppose, for example, if you want to use that one, directly click on this one. See, if you want to connect with any data source means, suppose SQL server means server name, database name, everything you need to get. But when you are using under recent sources, no need to get, because it's already the connection is enabled for this particular data source. That's the reason when you click on this one, directly tables are showing there itself. See here, understand clear? Directly tables related one, it will load it into Power BI. Understand clear? Yeah. So, so instead of connecting with your data sources, better to check your data sources available in recent sources or not. If it is available, then you can simply connect with those data sources. Understand clearly? Okay. Next one is transform data. Next one is, what is that? Transform data. What is transform data means? Very, very important. So this is a new topic. This transform data is a new topic. Okay. So that related one, it will take 1 week classes for transform data. Almost 1 week classes for transform data it is. Understand? Okay. So what is transform data? You know, right? When you connect with any of the data sources, whenever you're pulling the data from the different data sources, at that point of time, if you want to do any modifications on the data sets, if you want to do any modifications on the data sets, then must and should you have to use transform data. Okay. Transform data is the only the option to modify the data sets data. That means modifications means, suppose renaming a column, removing columns, replacing values, okay, combining multiple columns into single column, and okay, change the data type of the column, all these things that we can do it in transform data. Right? That means whatever the data we are loading from the different data sources, on those data, if you want to do some modifications, must and should you need to go to transform data. Suppose, for example, you are pulling one table. Okay. That table data, whenever we are pulling that particular table data, okay, at that point of time, there are 10, 20, 50 columns are there, 15 columns are there. But in our report, we need to use only 10 columns. Remaining column, 5 columns, we cannot keep it like that. We need to we need to remove those columns, right? Understand or not? Because if you are kept like that, it will occupies the memory, right? So that's the reason we don't want to occupy the remaining related column. So you have to remove those columns. See here, that modification that you can do it in transform data only. Okay. So, so that's the reason when you connect with any of the data source, see here, if you connect with Excel or some whatever it may be, once you connect with, you will see three options, right? After selecting a tables here, did you see load, transform data, and cancel? Load means it will directly load into model. Transform data means if you want to do any modifications on the data set, then you have to go to the transform data. Okay. Cancel means this the one. See here. So once the data is loaded into Power BI model, then also you can go to the transform data, or else at the time of connecting to the data source also you can go to the transform data. Okay. Transform data is only for modifying the data, data sets data. If you want to do modifying the data sets data, must and should you need to go to transform data. See here, when you click on, see here, this window we can call it as Power BI model window. This is a Power BI model window. But when you click on this one, another window will open. That window we can call it as transform data window or Power Query Editor window. So that means that means whenever you open any Power BI file, by default, whatever window you can see, that is Power BI model window. But when you click on transform data, another window will open. Now, Under this Power BI file with this name, now it is two windows will be there. Did you see here? See here. This is model window. This is transform data window. See here. With the same name, two windows will be there. Because transform data window is the new window. It will open it. Understand clearly? So what when you click on transform data window, whatever window it is open, that window we can call it as transform data window or Power Query editor window. Okay. So understand clearly or not? See, like this it will be there. So under this one, there are different ribbons are there. Under home, there are different options. Under transform tab, you will see different options from here to here. All the options will be there. In if you click on add column tab, there you will see different options. Let's discuss one by one. Okay. Under home tab, you will see the first option is close and apply. What is this? Close and apply. Okay. So in this close and apply, you will see three options: close and apply and close. Under home, under home ribbon, you will see three different options: close and apply, close. Three different options are there: close and apply, and close. Okay. What is the meaning of this one? I will tell you. Listen carefully. Okay. So under home tab, you will see three options, right? Three different options: close and apply and close. What is the meaning of apply means? Whatever transformation options you applied in any data set, whatever transformation options you apply, these are all the transformation options. See here, in home tab, what options you can see? Those are all the transform. In transform tab, you will see some other options will be there. Those are all transformation. In add column tab, some other transformation option. Those are, if any of the transformation options from any tab, if you apply it on any data set, okay. So once you apply that particular transformation option, it is not auto saved application. Power BI desktop is not auto saved, right? You have to save it manually. Understand clearly? No? Power BI is not an auto saved application. That means once you apply that particular option, it automatically it cannot be saved. Understand clearly? No? So whatever option you applied it, that option it is shows that option. Okay, what is the result and everything. But if you want to save the data means must and should you need to click on apply under close and apply. Yep. You have to click on apply because when you click on apply only, then only whatever transformation options you applied for any of the data set, then those related one only it is saved in the data sets. It is saved in the Power BI memory. It is saved in the Power BI memory. Otherwise, it is not possible. Very, very important point. Okay. Power BI desktop is not auto-saved application. You always, if you do any operations on that particular one, manually must and should you have to save it. Because Power BI desktop is software, right? Sorry, any software must and should, okay, you have to save it. Okay, it's not auto-saved applications, it is. Whichever applications that you are running on your local system or desktop, those are not auto-saved application. Those are manually have to save that particular. Understand clearly? Enough? Manually, you have to save that particular one. Okay, then only the data will be saved. See here. Now, whatever transformation options you applied for any data set, okay, must and should, after applying the options, immediately must and should you need to click on apply this option. Then only that particular data will be saved in the Power BI memory. Otherwise, those changes are not saved in the Power. If it is not saved, whenever you open this Power BI, every time you cannot see the changes into that particular report. Okay. When you save it, then only changes you can see it in Power BI itself. Understand clearly? Okay. Now, see here, apply means saving the data, just saving the data. Okay. Suppose, for example, if you are not applying any transformation options for any of the data set, no need to click on apply. Understand clearly? Whenever you apply any transformation options for any of the data set, then you have to click on apply. Understand? Next one is close and apply. Close and apply means first, whatever options you applied for any data set, first it will save the data and this transform data window will be closed. That is the meaning of close and apply. First save the data. After that, it will close this transform data window. That is the meaning. Suppose, for example, if you click on close, close means without saving the data, this Power Query editor or transform data window will be closed. Let's see practically each and every option how it will work in an example. Okay. Suppose, for example, see in this particular data set, I'm applying some replace value option. Okay. See here. See here. Wherever Canada is there, in place of Canada, it is replaced with the CA. Okay. See here, automatically it is replaced with the CA. Okay. Understand clearly enough. That means, see here, once the option is applied, must and should what you have to do, you have to click on apply. When you click on apply, just save the data and that you are there in the transform data window itself. Suppose if you click on this one, see here, it's saving the data. Just saving the data and you will be there in transform data. But if you click on close and apply, save the data and close this particular transform data window. Understand clearly? Now, suppose for example, you're suppose for example, you're removing few of the transformation options for existing data set. You already apply few of the transformation options. Any of the transformation option from any dataset, if you want to remove means under apply steps, you can remove it. Suppose previously I applied the replace value step, right? That step I want to remove it. When you remove that one, previously before replacing how the data will be there, name will be there, right? That only it will choose. Now, what I'm doing here it is, I'm not saving that one. I just click on close. What will happen once you click on close? Did you observe that one? In the Power BI model itself, you will see two options. Because what Power BI is thinking is, after doing some modifications in transform data, you forget to save it. So that's the reason Power BI is Power BI will remembering whether you want to save it or discard it. Understand clearly? See here. See here. See, even when you close that one, you are not saving the data. If you are not saving the data and you just click on close, what will happen? The transform data window will be closed. But in Power BI model, it will show a pop-up window called two options, apply changes and discard changes. Okay. Apply changes means so you are forget to save some options in transform data. So do you want to save the changes? Then if you want to save the changes, click on apply changes. If you don't want to save the existing changes, then click on discard changes. This is the option. Please see here. If you click on apply changes, then it is save the data. If you click on discard changes, whatever whatever modifications you did it, those all the modifications are removed. Understand or not? Those all modifications are removed. Discard changes means remove the existing options. Understand or not? Not only this one, you can apply at a time in different data sets, you can apply a number of transformation options. Not one data set, one time, one transformation, not like that. You can apply n number of transformation for n number of data sets. Understand clearly? Not? Is that clear? See, in enter data table, you can modify the cell values. Here, here, by applying some options, by applying some transformation options, you can modify it. Directly, see here, enter data table at any point of time, enter data, select this one and double click on the source. And here itself, you can modify directly cell values and double click on that one. It will convert into editable mode and you can change. But here, whatever the data source related tables are there, those data source related tables, okay, data source related tables, suppose this is the one. Suppose when you double click on the source, it is not possible to edit the values. But by applying some transformation option, you can modify up to what is the rule for that particular option. Up to that rule only that options are applied. Understand? Okay, this is about close and apply options. How many options are there? Three options. Close and apply, apply and close. So close and apply means after applying some transformation options in each and every data set, if you want to save the data, must and should you need to click on apply. Close and apply means save the data and after the transform data window will be closed. Suppose if you want to save only the data. Understand? Suppose, for example, if you want to only save the data, not closing the transform data window, then you have to use an option called apply. Okay. So without saving, you can, if you want to close this particular transform data window, means close this one. If you forget to save it, if you forget to save it, okay, don't worry. In Power BI model also, you will see an option like apply changes or discard changes option. Okay. What is that? Apply changes option or discard changes option. If you click on apply changes in Power BI model also, you can save the transform data options. Okay. If you click on discard changes, the whatever transformation options you applied it, those all are deleted. Understand clearly. Okay. See, Sharif is asking one question. What is that question is, Vijay, you are doing some modifications on the data set. You're doing some modifications on the data set in Power BI. Okay. Is those modifications are reflected to the data source itself? Suppose this financial data you are pulling from Excel it is. When on that particular data set, you are doing some modification like transformation options. So, is those changes are reflected to the data source? No. Very, very important point. Very, very important point is no, it is not possible. Understand clearly? Na? Okay. See, Power BI always one direction only the changes will happen, not in both the direction. Suppose if you do any modifications on any data source, it is not reflected to the data source. Very, very, very important. Sharif, very good question, man. Is that clear, Sharif? Sharif, if you want, you guys can try it. Okay. So if you change any modifications on the any of the data source data, okay, and check it in the data source whether the changes will affect. Changes cannot be reflected in the data source. Whatever modifications you did it in Power BI, it is reflected to the Power BI only. It is not reflected to the data source. Very, 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 very important. Is that clear, Sharif? Okay. So, one second, guys. 2 minutes. I will be back in 2 minutes. Okay. Okay. So, hmm, so that is close and apply options. Okay. Next one is new source. Okay. What is new source will do? That means in transform data also we can connect with a different data source. In Power BI model, in Power BI model, in Power BI model, if you want to connect with a different data source means what is the option? Get data is the option. Okay. Same option in transform data also it is available, but the name is different, new source. That means in transform data also we can connect with the different data sources and load the data into Power BI. Understand clearly? Okay. Okay. So this is the one. If you click on more, see here, did you see? There are different data source options will be there. Like, okay, cell, CSV, JSON, folder, okay, SQL Server database, okay, all the data sources. That means in model, what get data options are there, same data options are here also we can connect with the different data sources by using new source option. Understand? Next one is recent sources. We already discussed this one. Okay. In Power BI model itself, we discussed it, right? Recently, what data sources you are connected, the same data source, if you want to connect it and load the data, you can use recent sources option. Understand? Okay. These are under recent sources, any of the data source connection is already enabled. You just need to click on that one and select the tables and load that one. That is the point you can do that. Okay. So if you're clicking on under new source, if you connect with any of the data source, from the starting itself, you have to give all the details of that particular data source. But this recent sources, no need to give any details. Okay, because already connection is enabled. So whenever your data source is available, better to check your data source available in the recent sources or not. If it is available, directly use that option. Why you are using new source and give the details and everything. Understand clearly. Okay. Next option is enter data. What is enter data will do? You know, right? In Power BI model, we discuss it, right? If you want to create your own table in Power BI, must and should we have to use enter data is the option. Understand clearly? Next one. Next one is data source settings. What is data source settings will do means data source settings means see here. When you click on this one, here you will see two different tabs up there. Actually, what is the data source settings means whichever data sources you are connected in this Power BI file, which data sources you are connected in this Power BI file, those data source related paths are available. Those data source related paths are available. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Data source settings means only paths are available for the different data sources. Understand or not? That means whichever data sources you connected, those related data sources paths are available here. Okay. See, see here. So the different paths are available here. Each and every path. Financial sample. That means you will see only the dataset names there it says. Okay, you will see only dataset names. But these dataset from which data source it is getting, if I want to know means must and should you need to go to the data source setting because those datasets related paths are available here itself. Understand? Only paths. Okay. So in this one, in this data source setting, you will see two options, data sources in current file, global permission. Data sources in current file, global permission. What are these two options means? Data sources in current file means only you can see all the paths are available in data sources in current file. All the paths. All the paths means what is the meaning of all the paths? That means some data source by giving credentials you are connected. Some data sources without giving credentials you are connected, right? So Any type of data source paths are available. That means with giving credentials data source paths and without giving credentials data source related paths are available here. But in global permission, it is not like that. Only with giving credentials related paths only you can see it in global permissions. See here. Suppose for example, see Excel having when you are connecting with Excel, is it having any credentials or something like that? Any permissions are required for this one? No. Okay, not required. Directly it is asking the Excel path in your local system and you selected that data set is. But when you connect with SQL Server, must and should you need to give some basic details. What is that one? Can anyone tell me what details we are giving when you are connecting with SQL Server? What details we are giving when you are connecting with SQL Server? No. No. Yes. Very good. What is that one? Server name. Jashmita. Very good. Server name is the basic thing, right? When you connect with SQL Server, mandatory field is server name. That is the every time don't think like username and password is the permission field. If you want to connect with any of the application, what is the major point you are entering there? That is called as permission related. So when you are connecting with SQL Server without giving server name, can we connect with SQL Server? No, it is not possible. That is acts like a permission. See here, that means so SQL Server must end. But in data source and current file, both the paths, like with credentials and without credentials related paths are available. Okay. But in global permission, did you find any Excel related data source path? No, because only permissions related paths only it is available. That means username, password, or server name, which is mandatory to that application to connect it. So those those one we can call it as permissions. Okay, which data source permissions are required for those related paths are available in Go. But in data source in current file, all the paths are available. Understand clearly? That is the difference here. Understand clearly? Now? Any doubts in this one? And one more important point is few of the people are giving answers and their reply to they are sending out an email. Okay, so like on Saturday we need to discuss who are having any doubt. See, up to because that related questions I'm preparing for all the SQL Server part. I think so. Okay. If any who don't know other related part, leave it about this one. Remaining related one, you have to fill that. Just write the syntax. Some people are writing an examples. Okay. I'm giving a questions to write a syntaxes, not answers. Suppose some people are creating database name. Okay, create a database. They are giving like something XYZ name. Not like that. I want a syntax. Create database, any name. Like that you can write it. Understand? Okay, syntaxes only I'm expecting. Because if you remember syntaxes, you can answer any type of question, right? That's the reason. Syntaxes are very, very important. Okay, next one. What is the next one? See here. Next option is change source. What is this one? Change source. What is change source option will do? Change source. What is change source? Change source means if you want to change the data source path, suppose for example, sometimes a very important point is actually this Excel is there in which location? Under downloads, country wise sales one, Excel is there. Suppose if that Excel location is changed from downloads to some other location, then what will happen? If you want to connect to that particular data source means must and should you need to change that particular data source path here also. Very, very important point. Okay. What is that one is if you want to change the data source related path mean here also here also you can change it. Here also you can change the data source paths. Understand clearly. Okay. Here also you can change the data source path. Must and should. It is not automatically changed. Suppose in downloads, country by sales one Excel is there. Okay. But sometimes suppose if that location, data source location is changed from download to some other location. When you are changing from download to some other location, at that point of time, okay, at this point of time, suppose for example, okay, if that is changed means in Power BI also you have to change that particular data source location. You have to point to that particular location. In which location the data source is there, you have to point to that location. You have to change that particular data source. Otherwise, Power BI is not automatically changed. How Power BI knows in which location your Power BI file is there? Understand clearly not? It is not changed. Very, very important. So in these data source locations, if it is changed, must and should. Okay, in Power BI also you have to change that locations. Understand? If suppose financial Excel is there, in some other location financial Excel is there, financial sample Excel is there. Okay, suppose if the location is changed. Okay, okay. Suppose I will show you practically. Suppose for example, see here, country by sales one is in downloads folder, it is there. Now I want to change it from downloads to some desktop location. Okay. Now see here, it will happen. See here, country by sales is in which location? Country by sales one is in which location? Downloads location. Suppose for example, from I change this location to desktop location. Okay. Now, now go to Power BI. Okay. Suppose, for example, see here, country-wise location is in downloads. When you are refreshing that particular data set related one, okay, see, it is showing error because, did you see, could not find this Excel in this location. Some other location it is there. You have to change that one. Where you can change that location in data source settings, under that, click on change source. Which one it is? Select that particular path first. Which path location you want to change it, that one first you know. Otherwise, if you are not selecting this one, by default, first one is selected automatically. So that's the reason you have to be very careful in this one. Okay. Select that particular path, which one you want to change it, and click on change source. In which location it is there? Click on browse and go to that location. See here, it is there. Now it is changed to close it. Once you close it, still it is showing like that. Just click on refresh. Here refresh option is there, right? Now, did you see? Understand clearly. Suppose, for example, if the same Excel file I want to change it, okay, from this location to downloads again. Okay, understand? Now, if I change it again, when you click on refresh of this particular one, see here in this location it is not there. Again, you have to change it to that location. Select that particular path and click on change source and click on downloads. Don't forget that here must and should you need to select that particular path location, and after that below options you can do that one. Understand clearly? This is how you can change the, if any data source path is changing means that by clicking on the change source you can change the different paths of that particular. Understand clearly? Next one is export PBIDs. What is the full form of PBIDs? Power BI data source, not data set. Okay. Power BI data source. If any of the data source, see here there are four different data source, right? Suppose whichever data source you are selected and click on export PBID. That particular data source, that particular data source is downloaded into your local system. See here, suppose I'm downloading into desktop location and click on save. Now what will happen? This particular data source is downloaded into your local. Where is that one? Let's see here. Hmm. See, this is the one, right? Just now, it is look like the data source is look like a Power BI related one. Yes, it is there. Okay. When you open this particular data source, automatically it will connect it to that same data source and what tables required. Those tables you can load it inside Java. That means whatever data source it is downloaded, it is look like a Power BI. So when you open that particular one, okay. So once you open it, automatically the connection, did you see the connection automatically enabled for that particular data? You no need to do that one. What tables are required? That using those tables, you can create a report in this one also. Understand clearly? Like this. Okay. This is about export PBIDs. Okay. Export PBIDs means the full form is Power BI data source. Power BI data source. Next one is edit permissions. This edit permissions means if you want to change the permissions, like change the, suppose for example, username, password, those are permissions related here. If any username and password is changed for any of the path, select that one and click on edit permissions and click on edit here and change the permissions here. Okay. Sometimes when you are connecting with SQL server, when you are connecting with SQL server, there are two types I told you, right? Windows, another one is SQL server authentication. Okay. Windows means no need of giving username and password. But when you are connecting with the server authentication, SQL server authentication, must and should username and password. If say whenever you want to change, whenever username and password is changed means by clicking on edit permissions and click on edit and change that particular permissions here also. Because when you are working with organization, they are having a different username and password. With that one also we can change. Understand clearly. Okay. Next one is clear permissions. Next one is clear permissions. What is clear permissions will do? See here, there are two options. Clear permissions, clear. Very important. Suppose whatever permissions of the any of the data source you have it, if you want to remove those permissions of that particular data, see, for Excel related, we don't have any permissions. When you are connecting with the SQL server, permissions are there. Permissions means server name is the one. If you want to remove that one, then see here, you can click on select this particular path and click on clear permissions. Delete. Once you delete that one, permissions are deleted. So whenever the permissions are deleted for any of the data source, those data source related data sets you cannot, when you click on those tables, you cannot see the data. It will throw us an error. See here, you cannot see the table data because the permissions are removed for that particular data source. It is asking edit claim. When you give again the credentials, then only it will connect it. See here, just click on connect. Click on OK. See here, right table, V1, V2, for E1. Understand? Once you clear the permissions, you cannot see any of the table data. Excel related one, you can see that one. Okay. Excel one doesn't have any permissions, right? So that's the reason you can see in any point of time. But only which data source having permissions are there. If you clear that one, you cannot see that particular data source, right? Understand clearly. See here. There are two options will be there. What are those two options? One is clear permissions, clear. Clear permissions means which path you are selected here, which path permissions you selected here. Only that path permissions only it is clear. If you want to clear the permission for a specific path, that you have to select it here and click on clear permissions. Clear all permissions means what are all the paths are available here. Those all path permissions are cleared once at a time. Those all path permissions are cleared once at a time. That is the difference between clear permissions and clear all. Understand clearly? Is that clear or not? Okay. This is about data source settings. See here, even if you go to the global permission also same options, export period, edit permissions, clear permission. What we discussed in data source and current file, same options will be there in global permission. Understand clearly? Okay. Next option is parameter. Very, very important one. What is a parameter? Parameter is nothing but runtime execution is called as parameters. What is that? Parameter is nothing but runtime execution is called as a parameter. Okay. See, at the time of running of the report, clear all permissions means what are all the paths are available here. See here, what are all the paths are available here. All path permissions are cleared once at a time. Clear permission is specific path permissions only clear. That is the difference. Is that clear? Ashish. Ashish. Yeah. Okay. Next one is parameter. Parameter means runtime executions. Runtime execution means whenever you want to run, whenever you want to run the report at that point of time only parameter values are executed. Understand clearly? See here, actually parameters are created in two ways in real time scenario. See here, actually parameters are created in two ways. One is filtering column values. Another one is filtering column values. Another one is changing environment. See here, this option in real time we are not using this one. Filtering column values is not required to use it. Okay. But don't worry, I will explain to you how to use that one. Another one is changing. In real time, this option must and should we have to use it. Understand? First, one by one, we discuss it. Okay. What is the first one? Filtering column values. Okay. What is filtering column values? That means in parameter, if you give a value, that parameter, if you map it to the any of the column, then what will happen in that column? Only parameter value, whatever it is there, that related value only we can see there. Remaining values are hidden. Understand? Let's see practically. Suppose, for example, did you see in country column there are different countries: Canada, Germany, France, Mexico, everything. But now what I need to do is I need to create a parameter. In that parameter, I need to give some value. That value I need to filter in the respective column. Then what will happen in that respective column itself? You can see what parameter value is there, that value only you can see. That is the meaning of filtering column. Let's see how to create this one. See, in manage parameter, you are creating a new parameter, right? Click on this new parameter. Here, filtering column values. Okay, you can give any name here. Okay, you can give any name, whatever name you require that you can. Here description is optional, not required to use it. And type is any means. What is the meaning of any mean? Under this parameter name, you can store any type of value, like numeric value you can store, decimal value you can store, character value you can store, and anything, any value you can store. That is the meaning of type anyway. Suppose if you click on this one, there are different types out there. If you select any of the type, then that respective value only it is allowed. Suppose if you pass any means, any type of value, numeric it is allowed, decimal it is allowed, characters is allowed, date it is allowed, any type of value it is allowed. Okay. Next, suggested value is any value, and current value is here in this back. See here, there are different suggested values are there. One by one, we need to discuss. First, we need to discuss any value. If you select any value, you have to give the value what you need to store under the parameter. Okay. Manually, you have to enter in this text box itself. Suppose, for example, Canada. Okay. Click on OK. See here, that particular parameter, well, parameter is created and the parameter value is available. Understand clearly? The same parameter value. Now, what you need to do, this parameter value, you have to filter in the respective column itself. Okay. See here, suppose I need to go to the financial and there itself, there is country column, right? In the country column, you have to map that particular filter parameter value. Okay. How to map it? Okay. What you have to do is, in which data set, in which column you want to map the parameter value, you have to go to the respective column itself and click on the drop down of this particular column and click on text filters. Okay. There is, you will see text filters, right? Click on text filters, click on equals. Any of the operator, there are different operators. Any of the operator you can use it. Equals means is equal to. Once you click on equal to, here ABC is there, right? Here you need to select a parameter. Okay. Then automatically what parameter we created, that parameter is automatically selected. Or else if suppose more than one parameter is there, must and should you need to select a respective parameter value here. Understand? Click on OK. Now see here. In the parameter, you will have Canada. You will see only Canada values in this particular country column, not otherwise. Suppose, for example, suppose for example, once you map to parameter value to any of the column, suppose in the parameter, if you change any value, automatically that value it is automatically filtered in the respective column itself. See here, suppose Mexico. I'm changing the parameter value here. Then if I go to the financial, again, did you see? Mexico. Suppose if the parameter value is France. See, you can modify here in this text box. Automatically, when you go to the effective data set, that will make one. Understand clear? Is that clear or not? This is how you can map the parameter value to the respective column. Understand clearly or not? Okay. Now, next one is, what is the next option? Changing environment. What is the next option? Changing environment is the option. Okay. Very, very important. In real time, most of the time, this is the option we are using. The one. Understand? Okay. Changing environment. Okay. What is this option? Very, very important. Suppose in the organization level, in your local system, you will any application only one environment you are maintaining. Suppose your Power BI is one environment. Suppose you are using SQL Server, only one server only you are maintaining. That is one environment you are. But in the organization level, for any application, they are maintaining two to three different environments. Understand? Two to three. Like, see, for any application, UAT environment they are maintaining, dev environment they are maintaining, and production. For any application, these are the three environments there because that is the structure of that particular in any organization for any application. Because why they are maintaining three different environments is suppose for example, actually what will happen is even development, testing, and production related one. All if you do it in one, all if you do it in one, what will happen is so many problems we are facing. It will impact to the performance. Okay. Development you are doing in the same server, and the testing also you are doing in the same server, and production also you are doing in the same server. If you are maintaining all in one server itself, in the organization level, it is impacted for the performance. So that's the reason in any organization, for any type of application, they are maintaining two to three different environments. Some people are not using UAT directly, dev environment, production environment, like that. Two only. Actually, what is the proper architecture for any of the organization for any application means three: UAT, development, and okay, sorry, development, UAT, and production. First, to develop the thing, there is a different. That means development having a different server, UAT having different, production having a different server. Okay, when they are creating any type of queries and everything. Okay, if they are newly developed application, they do it in development. If they want to if they once the development part is completed, then they will move to the UAT for testing. Okay, once the testing is completed, then they will move to the production. Then the final data will be there in the live, that is production. Understand? So that is the one. So when you are having that one, suppose you created in a dev environment or development environment. Suppose user is asking, same report, can you move to the UAT? Same report, can you move to the production? Like that they are asking. At that point of time, you cannot create three different reports, right? In the same report itself, you just need to change the server names of each and every table. Okay? Then automatically it is point to that. But when we are changing the servers in each and every table, suppose 25 tables are there. In each and every table itself, you have to change the server name. Okay. So instead of that one, we need to create changing environment parameter. Instead of that one, we need to use changing environment parameter. When you use changing environment parameter, what will happen when you use changing environment parameter? See, all the servers you are creating in a different parameter values. Then automatically what? So when you are changing the parameter, automatically server is also pointing to that particular parameter value. Understand clear? Simply with one change, we need to change all the tables in that particular report is changed to that particular server. See here, within 1 minute, we can change the environment from dev to UAT, UAT to dev, or UAT to production, anything. Understand clearly? So for that, changing environment parameter must and should we need to create. What is that one here? No UAT. What is the UAT? UAT means testing, man. That is testing. Okay, development, testing. There are different environments. Okay, it will be there. When you are working with the organization, it is a testing. Okay, okay, unit testing. Okay, so when you see here in the organization level, there is separate structure will be there. Okay, see here. user acceptance testing it is. Okay. What will happen is they're maintaining a different server because it won't be impacted more on the production. So that's the reason these many environments they are maintained. Okay. You development, UOT. Because if it is in development stage, okay, you have to do it in development. Don't touch the production. Okay. Like that. Because same tables in production, what tables are there? Same tables, same columns will be there, but data will be there, different, right? In development, all the production live data will be there in development. No, right? Only for development related, few records they are keeping. In testing, with those few records, whether it is correct, getting data or not, like that. In production, live data will be there. That means in all the environment, same table names, same column names, only the data will be different. Here 10 records will be there. In live, how many records are there? Live records like 1,000, 10,000. Those are all the records will show there. That is the difference it is. Okay. Okay, so this is very, very important changing it because they are in each and every organization they are maintaining a different environments, right? So that's the reason. Okay, so that's the reason they are using like changing environment parameters the best option. Okay, Vijay, you are not maintaining a different server. How to connect with the Don't worry. One is the correct server I am giving, another one is wrong server. When you select a wrong server, all the tables of that particular server it is showing errors it is. When you are selecting correct server, then it will show the data. Right? Because we are not doing any different servers here. Okay. So again, you need to, for changing environment parameter, you need to click on new parameter here, changing. Here, here, not this one. Suggested values. Now you need to take list of values because there are different servers will be there, right? Those servers you need to maintain more than that server is more than one value, right? More than one server. That's the reason you have to take list of. In the list of value, you have to give the server name. See this one. I'm giving this is the server name. Okay. Another server, I'm giving a wrong one. Okay. Like see here, P like this. I'm changing this one. Okay. This is the correct one. This is the wrong. Actually, we are not maintaining different servers, right? So in the organization level, what is the correct servers are there? Those server names you have to give. Okay. Here you have to give the any of the default value, current value. Any of these options you can select. Any of the option. It's not compulsory to select this one or this one. Okay. Any value. So here I'm selecting it. So this is how first you need to create a parameter with a different service. Now, what you have to do, whichever tables are connected with the SQL server, okay, those all the tables at a time you need to point to this particular server. How you can do that? Okay, click on data source settings. What is the SQL server related path here? That one you have to select it and click on change source. And see here, here the server is there, right? Here ABC is there. In place of ABC, you select parameter. But parameter, what is the name you have to select it? Changing environment. No. Done. Over all the tables which you connected. Because all the tables are connected to that particular server. But the server name is wrong. What is the server name? It is P related. Related doesn't have any servers, right? That's the reason all the tables are pointing error it is. See here. But when you change that particular server name here in changing environment, proper server name, now see here, if you go to the left table, right table, it is like this. At a time, the complete report is converted within 1 minute. Within 1 minute, you can change the complete report from UAT dev to production, production to something like that. Understand or not? Is that clear or not? Any doubts in this one? Okay. Next one is refresh preview. What is refresh preview will do? In refresh preview, there are two options out there. Refresh preview, refresh. Refresh means reloading the data. Reloading the data. That means, see, this data, when you select this particular data set, you will see there's all the columns of this particular data set. This data set from where it is getting in one of the data source called Excel. Okay. So what will happen when you click on refresh preview means okay, it will connected the same data, so the same data set, it is connected to the same data source where the data source is at Excel. It will connect to the same Excel and load that same Excel data again into Power BI. That is called refresh. Refresh means reloading the same data set into Power BI is called refresh. Okay. But here, refresh preview means which data set you selected, that data set only it is refresh. Okay. Refresh all means what are all the data sets are available in the left side. Those all the data sets once at a time, it is a refresh. That is the meaning. Refresh preview means selected data set only reloaded. Refresh all means in this report, what are all the data sets are available? Those all the data sets are reloaded again into Power. Understand clearly? Now? That is the refresh. Cancel refresh means sometimes it is taking a time to refresh that one. At that point of the in middle of the refresh, I want to cancel it. This is an option to cancel the refresh. Understand clearly? See, not Linux servers. Okay. See here. Suppose, for example, you are having SQL server. SQL server having a different servers. UAT, Dev, Oracle having a different servers. Suppose Azure. Azure have also having a different servers they are maintaining. Not only Linux. Understand? Linux is an operating system, right? It's not a server. Okay. Linux is an operating system. Okay. Okay, so that related one, like for that operating system, what servers it is supported, those only. But most of the times, Windows operating system only we are using. With that one, what data sources you are, what servers you are connecting. Those all the servers in the organization level, in each and everything, they are maintaining a different server. Those you have to connect. Understand clearly. Is that clear, Sharif? Server means DB, yeah, DB related one. DB. Okay. Server means DB. All Oracle, like Hadoop, HANA, SQL Server, MySQL, Sybase. All these are servers only. Understand? Okay. Now, next one is properties. What is properties will do? mean, see here. If you want to change any data set name, what is that? If you want to change any data set name means these are all the data set names. In the left pane, what you see, these are all the data set names. If these data set names, if you want to change it means there are multiple options are there. One is select that particular data set, click on properties, and here you can change the name of the data set. Suppose for example, see here, see here, one, two, three. This is one option. Another option is on the right side, select the data set on the right side under the properties. Here also you can change the data set name. Understand? See here. Another option is also there that is which is comfortable for everyone. That is double click. Double click on the data set. You can change the data set name directly here. Any of the for changing a data set name, any one option. Most of the time, best option is double click. Double click is the option to change your data set name. Understand clear? Okay. Is it clear or not? Okay. Next one is advanced editor. What is advanced editor? How this advanced editor will work? Everything that we can discuss it in tomorrow's class. In tomorrow, as usual, like online, offline classes will be there. So who want to come to the offline, please come to the offline from tomorrow onwards. Who want to continue in the online, please continue those people in online. Understand? Tomorrow onwards, as usual, offline, online classes will be there. Understand clearly? Anyone having any doubts online team, please raise your hand so that I can clear your doubts. Okay. So we can stop it here and yeah. So we can stop it here and we'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we need to discuss about other related options. Okay. Bye guys.